Welcome to the Creativity Theory Podcast. I'm your host, Cameron Smith, same guy as usual. And today I'm joined with my good friend and brother in Christ, Drew Harrison.
Hello, buddy. How
Thank
are
you. I'm doing good. Thanks for joining me.
Oh, man, thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for coming all the way from Nashville just to do this
just
podcast.
to do this, yeah. I woke up at 3 a.m. this morning and drove the 9.5 hours here. And
wow.
Now I'm here.
This podcast really matters.
Right, it does.
Yeah.
It does matter.
Yeah. Before we get into it, as usual, we got an ad we got to read. So let's get into it. Today's episode of the Creativity Theory Podcast is brought to you by ZipRecruiter. Are you tired of sifting through hundreds of resumes just to find a handful of qualified candidates for your job openings? ZipRecruiter can help. With ZipRecruiter, you can post your job to over 100 top job boards with just one click. Plus, their smart matching technology actively searches through resumes to identify the most qualified candidates for you. No more wasting time on... Oh, Jesus Christ, just... redo the whole thing. No more wasting time and money on job postings that don't deliver results. With ZipRecruiter, you'll get quality candidates fast. In fact, 4 out of 5 employees... Dude.
You good?
I'm not good. I am not well.
I mean, it's going great, minus the word here.
Honestly, I kind of just feel like giving up.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not doing the rest of it. Drew... Drew, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Happy to be here. I enjoyed that ad reading. That was nice.
Thanks. Yeah. You know.
Are you sponsored by ZipRecruiter?
Probably not anymore.
Nice.
Supposed to read the whole ad. So, yeah, how are things going? You're down in Wilmington. You came down here. You had a cozy comedy show at Wine Knot Sky Bar. How did that go?
Oh, it was amazing, man. Such a good time. I love that space, like the view and everything.
Yeah, nice view. Yeah. Nice, intimate room.
We had a bunch of helicopters fly by, like, right when I was wrapping up. It was
nice. I'm sure that didn't cause any, like, noise disturbances or anything.
Not. Yeah, not when your whole audience just goes.
Right.
You're like, oh, look, I lost them.
Was those big military helicopters?
Yeah. I thought they were going to, at one point, just, like, fly around the corner. I'm like, what's going on in here?
Just start shooting in
That's
the windows.
what I would do if I had helicopters. Like comedy. Take it down.
Yeah.
Take it down.
No comedy.
They're having fun. End it.
Well, cool. And then you're heading back to Nashville this weekend?
No, I'm here. I'm at Dead Crow featuring for In Edwards this weekend.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
And then I'm headlining a show in Charleston on Monday.
Well, that's exciting.
And then I'm heading back.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
So are you doing comedy? Like, is that your full-time? Full-time. Dude, hell yeah.
Yeah, man.
Dude, that's sick.
Stressful as it can be.
Stressful? I can imagine.
Yeah, man.
Well, that's incredible. When were you able to make that leap?
Beginning of 2022.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I've been doing it for a little more than a year now.
Yeah, man. Very supportive wife, Laura, that just like knew I was miserable in my day job and was like, just quit, Yeah. You got enough connections. You can start sending these emails out. I was very lucky to get picked up by Dusty Slay. He takes me to some shows with him to open for him. So it kind of fell into place, like I didn't plan on it. I wasn't just like, I'm going full time. Like she let me quit my terrible day job and search for a better job.
Yeah.
Like, but I didn't have to stay at the bad job while I found a new job.
Right.
But the old market for creatives right now ain't that great. So
yeah,
it just kind of, I was like, well, let me make money at comedy while I search for this job. And then it just snowballed and in the best way possible and getting by. I'm not saying I'm making money.
Right.
I'm surviving.
Yeah. Well, that's enough.
Yeah.
Especially if what you're doing is stand up.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's just, and especially where the level I'm at with like the feature work, where I'm like also a headliner with no credits. It's like I headline the little shows, but I mainly got to rely on feature work and. Notoriously none of that pay has changed since like the 80s. So what are you supposed to do out here? But just put your head down and keep grinding.
Keep grinding. Got to get on that Sigma male grind set.
Yeah, man.
And so you have a comedy special out too that you take. This was like we taped this more than a year ago, right? Or was it beginning
February?
Last February. That's right.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little more than a year ago.
Yeah.
It's called Based on a Drew Story.
Indeed.
And I got to help you shoot that.
You did.
I did.
That was very nice of you. I appreciate that.
Well, it was very nice of you to pay me to do it.
Yeah.
It was just a nice...
Shout out to Project Nerd for
yes,
getting it produced for me. You know?
Shout out Project Nerd.
Project Nerd.
Well, how's that been going, having the special out?
Great, man. At first, I was a little bummed out that I had to self-produce it. You know, I sent it to a couple of labels and got some great feedback. You know, very positive. Like nothing like, this sucks. Don't do this anymore.
Right.
You know, like so I was able to take that constructive criticism, and I'll definitely use that towards future albums and and things like that.
Yeah.
You know?
What kind of criticism were they giving you?
You know, just like you know, like they said they want to see like what the second album's gonna be like. You know, like they're like, we understand this is your first album and you need to get this out, but you know, we think you got other things that we would be more interested in. You know what I mean? Like they basically were like, we like the path you're on. Mm-hmm. We'll probably jump on next time.
Okay.
So it was nice to hear from it, but I knew I had to get this album out, and I'm glad now that I self-produced it. Like put it out there, and I've no backing whatsoever. I mean, all of my friends and family have been absolutely so supportive and shared it and liked it and commented. But I mean, I did 26,000 in the first 6 months on YouTube without any backing from the industry whatsoever. So I felt great.
But it does feel great.
Yeah, I have no idea. I mean, who knows how it's doing on Spotify or Apple or any of that? Because I mean, I look at the analytics. I don't understand. I don't know. I just know you can't make any money off of it, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But it is what it is. I just wanted to get that album out, and I'm glad I self-produced it. I'm glad you helped me, and I'm glad I got to keep it with my team, you know.
Yeah.
And got to do it in Wilmington. That was huge for me. So
yeah.
It also was the first weekend a club let me headline. Is also the time I taped my first special. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, well, that's awesome to be able to do it back in hometown and do it at the new club. And you had fun at the open mic last night?
It was a blast.
Yeah.
It was good to that's the first time I've done the open mic at the new spot.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you had done it last time you were here.
No, I'd never made it in town on Thursdays.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, so it was nice to be here and see it. They got you to line up now. That's nice. It's nice. I remember the chaos days of Nut Street. Like, you remember when they hid the list for a little bit and you had to find the list to sign up for it?
Yes, yeah. I'm finally at the point where I mostly I can get someone to sign me up or even just show up, and most of the time whoever's hosting will be nice enough to throw me up.
So you know all the I didn't
grandfathered in.
I didn't know a lot of the people there last night.
Yeah.
So that's pretty nice for Wilmington. She got some newbies.
Yeah, but also I know in the cases where there has been the OGs popping up, and I know that
last night was that night though, man. Holy crap,
there's so many
Timmy
people.
Booth was in town. Johnny Gray showed up.
Johnny Gray.
Timmy Sherrill made an appearance.
Jeremy Bivens.
Wills. It was just good to see Tyler. It was great to see everybody.
Yeah. That was kind of overwhelmed with how many old faces were there.
I felt like every corner I turned, I was like, oh.
And it was also a really great crowd last night. Yeah. I was very happy with being able to do what I do and them liking it.
You had a great set.
Because man, I just have I've had such a strange relationship with comedy over these past few years where
understandable.
And it's mostly I think my relationship with the audience is the same as it's always been. I can make the crazy shit work a lot of times, but sometimes it doesn't. And I feel like there's been this shift from my peers that are comedians and the people booking shows and in charge of venues that when it's the same material that they've seen work really well before, if it happens to be a crowd that isn't into it that time, they're upset with me make me feel like I did it on purpose,
right?
And I have
it's worked before.
I have no idea what to do about that. Because there are people that are really convinced that I still intentionally destroy shows for enjoyment, and I don't. I understand why you think that, but I'm telling you,
Right.
I do not do that.
Well, I mean, you do rely heavily on the crowd being on board.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying. But I feel like a lot of comics do that now.
Yeah.
Have you thought, like, I've learned, like, it's a theory, I guess, like, that, like, certain things work in certain territories. You know, like we were talking about it last night, me and some of the comics, that Nashville's more like a cleanish comedy city.
Yeah.
And then Austin. Have you thought about
I've
making
thought
a trip to
about
Austin
if
and hanging out?
Yeah, I've thought about if I move somewhere, that would be where I go.
Because I feel like your style is what Austin is doing right now.
Yeah.
You know, like let's make the weird work.
Yeah.
You know, like you're going on a journey with me, but I need you on board.
Yes.
And I feel like Austin's more geared towards that. Because a lot of people are very, like, I've never had people tense up on me because, you know, I don't really talk about things, and I've had some people tense up on me lately. So I just feel like it's the times. Right. You know, like audiences had to kind of relearn how to be audiences after COVID.
Right. Yeah.
I think they're a little more, I think people are a little more quicker to go than they were before, you know? So I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if they're like quicker to go. I think it's just they do that about different stuff. Like, I think it's just what it is that does it always. But I'm always like trying to figure out what it is that does that and then do it. But it's so I can do that first and then try to win them back, because that's the trick that I'm obsessed with. But
that's the correct term. Yeah, obsessed with.
But the thing is that I was like kind of trying to explain, like you said, you don't try to say things that like cause at first, right? Yeah. And so like when you are trying new stuff that doesn't quite work and you experience a bomb, it's like, you know, you're getting crickets. Like the audience just is like, sorry, we're not here for it. Like, and so, but no one is mad at you and like you fucking were boring on purpose. You know, imagine if every time you bomb trying new stuff, man, that people were like, you're not welcome back on the stage anymore. Yeah. Like, I have a hard time trusting you.
That's a very interesting way to put that.
Oh, I mean, it's like anxiety inducing because like the stakes for me doing well are so much higher. Yeah, I feel like before I didn't have that. Like the first 5 years I was doing it, I could fuck up and people were still supportive. But it's the attitude of the peers that's changed that is bothering me the most. Where like audience has always been that way to me. Yeah.
Well, I mean, your comedy's very polarizing. You know, there's no middle ground. It's
I don't know what you're talking about, but okay.
You know what it is. You know that the crowd loves you or they hate you.
Yes.
No one's ever like, oh, it was all right.
Yeah.
You know, it's either the older ladies that are like, I never want to see him again.
Yes.
Or it's your crowd where they're like, that was hilarious.
Yeah. It's always so hard for me too whenever like, you know, you have those moments where someone recognizes you in public. You don't recognize it because they see you from the stage. Right. And they're like, I've seen you do stand up. And they start with that. And I'm like, which way is this going? Like, what did you see me do? That's always my first question after. Like, I'm always kind of like, is this going to be positive? Because it seriously is. It's mostly positive.
Right.
If someone's going to say, I've seen you do stand up, it's usually like, no, you were good when I saw you. Yeah. But there has been, I remember in Blue Post maybe like a year ago or something, I was walking to the bathrooms back there and there was some like girl that passed me in that hallway. And then she was like, I know you. And I was just like, yeah. She's like, you're that comedian. And I was like, uh-huh. She goes, you know, you're a racist and a sexist piece of shit. And I'm just like,
she waited so long to tell you that.
I was just like, yeah, you're probably right.
Like, can I just go to the bathroom now, please? Thank you.
I gotta go put my pee in the toilet.
Well, you know, I do that. I had a lady say that to me at Poorhouse after a show one night.
Really?
And she came up to me and she, you know, that I do that Indian Outlaw joke where I'd make fun of Tim McGraw's song Indian Outlaw about how it's terrible. The lyrics are so bad. But I'd tell that joke making fun of it, and she came up to me and she's like, you know, that joke was racist. And I was like, the joke's about how the song's racist.
Yeah.
She's like, but still, I don't think people get that. So you just come off as racist. I was like, well, you're the only one that's ever told me that, so I don't think I do. But thank you for the feedback. Have a good one.
I enjoy these stories where like you and John Feltz have talked about being confronted for being offensive.
Yeah.
It is funny because you guys, like, when people are doing it to me, it's justified.
I can see where
you do have a point. I am very offensive, but like when they're doing it to you, it's like there's no way for them to not be a total fucking idiot.
If I offend you, then you don't need to go to a comedy show.
Yes.
Like, it's just you don't need to be there.
Yes.
Like comedy ain't for you. Try something else.
Yeah. What do you feel like is your? I mean, obviously, stand up. The main goal is to make people laugh. But the way that you write and compile material, do you have kind of like a way, using words to describe your style, like what it is that you feel drawn to and attracted to that you like doing in your material?
I wouldn't say necessarily my material, but like my overall stage presence and appearance. I really try to drive home that don't judge someone based on the way they look. Like I really want that to be an underlying theme in most of my stuff, because I love, like, as much as you love getting the from the crowd, like the clutch the pearls, I love wearing, like, having all my tattoos hanging out and my long hair and holding the door for an old white lady and her just being like,
yes,
thank you. I'm like, you are very welcome. Have a great day. And just like being like, I thought you were gonna rob me, you know. like I've had so many people that I've gone to the grocery store on a Saturday wearing a tank top, and just people like grab their purse and like get away from me. And I think it's
I'm one of the least people to feel that way about it, because I mean, it's because of course I know you, but also I just don't feel like you have a threatening face. You have a very kind
I guess when
face.
I'm not on stage or talking about comedy, I do have a resting, like, angry face.
I don't think so. I don't think you got a resting angry face.
Good.
You got kind of like a sweet baby face.
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome.
But yeah, I don't get it either. But I've had so many coworkers over the years that be like, I thought you hated me. And I was like, what? They're like, you just didn't talk and you always had this look on your face. I was like, that's because I was at work.
Oh, yeah. That's another thing, too. Talk about, you know, being miserable at a job. Like, it's any job you do that isn't the passion. It's you, and you know, it's like kind of the dark side of knowing what it is you want to do with life.
Right. When you're not getting to do it. When
you're doing anything else, you're miserable. And people just think, this is a miserable person.
No.
It's like, no. I just know what I want to be doing, and I can't do it.
Because I can't support myself.
Yeah, because money.
Yeah, money's real. Yeah. No, I hear you on that. Like, my wife says I'm a different person now that I don't work at a vet clinic.
Yeah.
Like, that was a soul-sucking job.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was. You had to go through that throughout the day and then be like, oh, well, it's 6 o'clock. Let me go take a shower and try to be funny tonight, I guess.
Yeah.
You know? But, like, once you got to the comedy club and you were able to shake that work off, you're like, oh, okay, I'm good now.
Yeah. That's another thing, too. So, I haven't gotten into this with any other comedians I've had on the podcast, but I find this thing interesting. You know, there's, like you were just describing, your emotional state when you go to do a show.
Yeah.
Have you ever experienced, like, a correlation when you are not doing well emotionally or mentally, that you can't perform as well, or that you've gotten good at, no matter how you're feeling, you can shake it off by the time you get on stage or use what you got?
I've been able to use what I got before, like little traumas and little bad days, and just going down to the open mic and like just airing it out, like airing my grievance or what's bothering me. Like, I remember, as weird as it sounds, man, my pet mouse died.
Okay.
And we had,
sorry to hear that.
Well, thank you. His name was Sensei. He was fantastic. He had a little wheel. We just loved it. And that night I was just weird. I was like, I just cried all day over a mouse. You know, like, I love this dude. And I went to the open mic. It was when it was at Real Cafe, and I just talked about it. I was like, guys, I don't know how to act, man. I had a pet mouse and it died, and I am destroyed. And people at first were like, well, what? But the more I talked about it, like, they clapped me off the stage, not because it was funny and it was a great set. It was like, this guy needs it. You know? And it was great.
Yeah.
But I've definitely been in those mindsets where I've had a bad set.
Yeah.
And been like, I just shouldn't have done comedy today.
Right.
I'm not in a good place.
Yeah, I've never really, because the intuition you would assume if you don't do comedy is that if you're in a bad enough state of mind, you should stay off the stage and not ruin everyone else's night.
Right. Let me bring everybody else down real quick.
And I can say that is sometimes the case. Like you end up transmuting your direct emotions to the stage, and you fail to make it funny at all, and then it just is a bad set. But I've also found like there's been so many times where I have been in a horrible mood or something really horrible happened to me, like 15 minutes before going on. Like I remember at one of the Cape Fear comedy festivals when I was getting out of the one relationship I'd been in, and I think I was about to do like a 10-minute set on a showcase at Dead Crow. Yeah. And
it's a comedy festival.
Yeah.
Like you gotta.
Yeah. I gotta bring it.
Yeah.
And she called me. We hadn't like talked in a few weeks, and she called me and told me, she's like, I just fucked someone. And I was just like, what? Why the fuck did you call me to tell me this?
You could have texted it.
I have to go on a show in 10 minutes. And then, but I think memory serves, I think I crushed it. Like I had this like horrible, angry energy, and I just was so like, it was like, my jokes had nothing to do with it. I think I might have mentioned it at some point when like just the rage was coming out of me, was just like putting it into my joke. And I was just like, I don't know if you guys know this ago, but 10 minutes ago before I walked on the stage, my girlfriend called me and said she fucked someone. And they were laughing. They loved it,
Yeah. And I did the Tony Castleberry said the same thing when he was writing and doing articles for the Cape Fear Comedy Festival. I was going through my divorce one of the comedy festivals, and I had this joke about throwing her fish into the lake. Okay. And I just brought it with such intensity one night because I think we had just talked.
Yeah.
And it was just like, throw one at a time in the lake. And everyone was on board, and I look in the audience, and Tony Castleberry's crying. He's laughing so hard.
Yeah.
And it just like that made me feel better about the whole situation. So I hear you on that. Like you go into it, like when you walk on stage, you're miserable. Yeah. You're full of rage. And then when you walk off, you have that peace about you where you're like, I needed that. Yeah.
And there's also been times I've done it when it's very direct. Like, I had a real intense romantic situation with a woman, and then it really felt like this night I was like gonna go on a date with her, but last minute she sent me this text like, let's not do this. And then she said a bunch of like other like kind of knife twisting stuff in there. And so I went to a Barzar Juggling Gypsy open mic, and just, you know how that room is. It's more almost like a speakeasy poetry kind of vibe. And,
they were all slam poetry going.
They were all lined up, around the outskirts. And I went up there and just for 10 minutes just talked exactly about like the story with this person, and like led them to the fact like I should be on a date right now, but I'm not. Not. And I don't even remember what I said, but I remember they fucking like gave me a standing ovation at the end of it, and I completely like went from walking onto that stage miserable because of this thing and walked off like I'm so glad that I was miserable because I feel really
this
good.
This real organic thing came from it.
Yes. Yeah. I feel like there's something else too that I was forgetting about.
I remember they messed up and gave me a microphone that year I won Port City's Top Comic. Like, never let any of the winners say anything afterwards. Just get your trophy, get off stage. But Jack Nelson turns to me, he's like, anything you want to say? And I was like, well, I guess I got to now.
Yeah.
But I let everything that had happened in 2016 come out. I was like, this has been the worst year of my life.
Yeah.
But the best year of my life in comedy, and each and every one of y'all have been here with me through the whole thing. And I just start like tears rolling down. And I'm just like, okay, I gotta go. Peaced out.
Okay, so I remember what it was. It's very recent. Like I did the jokes at an open mic that I set out to do, and then I had like before the red light even came on, I was like out, and then I kind of like was drawing a blank, or maybe I forgot what other jokes I wanted to do. For some reason, I was drawing a blank, didn't have anything, and I let the room get silent, and then I just started like talking about my direct immediate problems. Like, I have really bad financial issues and no woman loves me. I'm very alone. I haven't had a relationship in 7 years, and sleeping in my bed is very cold and lonely. They just started busting out laughing because it was just such a sharp, dark turn. Like, but it was real.
Where did he go with this?
Yeah. There is something weird about emotionally and psychologically, like, crucifying yourself, where, most people would be really fucking embarrassed by it, wouldn't dare. But I think that's kind of the nature of, like, really autobiographical stream of consciousness comedy. The parts where you, like, share yourself.
They tend to be on board most of the time.
Yeah. Do you find you get that therapeutic element out of a lot of what you get to do?
I'm in a much better place now, mentally. So, like, it's more just fun now for me.
Yeah.
Like it got me through some really tough times. Like, there's nothing like a 5-minute guest spot at Dead Crow on a sold-out Friday night.
Yeah.
When everything was bad, But, like, now I'm in a much better spot. And to be honest with you, the financial aspect is the only part that's still killing me. But, I mean, I got a fantastic wife. I love living in Nashville. I love coming back to Wilmington and seeing people. So, like, I'm just in a much better place now that I get to just enjoy being on stage. I'm like, this is what I've worked for. Like, let's have fun now. Yeah.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Would you say that the transition from not being in a great mental place to being in one is completely because of being able to be full-time with comedy?
I mean, definitely not having that day job just bring you down.
Yeah.
Like, because I look back and all the times I was in a bad mood, it's because of my day job.
Yeah.
And now, I have panic attacks and freak out about money, but, like, I can bring myself out of it by focusing on the good I have right now.
Yeah. Yeah, ever since I started going full-time freelance last September, I feel way better.
Yeah.
Overall.
The money might not be coming in every month.
Right. The first 3 months, the money was better than any job I've ever had, and that was really encouraging. But winter was so bad, and I'm back to, like, a barely getting by financial situation. So I really feel what you said about, like, otherwise I'm good on all levels except for the financial one. If I could fix that.
Same, man, because I'm in the same boat. Like, I do comedy full time, but also do freelance video editing and graphics and animation on the side. So,
nice.
Just 2 fields I have to rely heavily on other people wanting me around.
Right. Yeah. The sales part of that stuff sucks.
Yeah.
I do. I hate selling myself. I prefer to
on
be
both ends. I hate selling myself as a comedian, and I hate selling myself as a video editor.
Yeah, I feel like I'm really gonna hate selling myself as a comedian when and if I start trying to do that.
Yeah, the first of the month when those emails need to go out, you're like, okay, well, this is how I get work. Let's go.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I'll find some way to enjoy that. Having some elaborate.
It is nice. Like, I intertwine it in with, like, my morning routine. You know what I mean? Like, I'll wake up and make breakfast and sit down and watch a couple episodes of Bluey. Like, get the
Bluey?
Bluey. Yeah.
What is Bluey?
It is an Australian kids cartoon that Disney picked up.
Okay.
And it's about a family of blue healers.
Okay.
And it is my therapy.
That's interesting.
I love it, man. It's got great little life lessons in it. Like, the characters are all wholesome people. And it's just, I don't like watching TV that's, like, makes you feel bad. Like, I could never watch like The Boys. Like,
oh, it's too much for you.
Too much, man. I don't like it. Like, the world's bad enough. Why do I want to watch that too?
That's interesting.
Like, I love all of I didn't like Disney movies growing up because it had the bad part in it. Oh,
like Bambi's mother dying.
Yeah, like, it always had to have a sad element to get you to the happy ending. Like, why can't you just watch something that's happy the whole time?
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh. I don't even know what to make of that.
I don't watch a lot of movies because I know there's going to be the arc,
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah, especially if you're not, like, into. I mean, I feel like I'm not really into watching stuff either, but I really love the full spectrum of, like, emotion being in there, and
I just want happy.
There being weird combinations of emotions, like you don't know how to feel because of the stimulus.
I don't know how I feel about all that.
How do you feel about some of the sketches and and shit show that we've made together?
Well, see, that's different because I was a part of it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I can imagine.
Like that. Like I absolutely adored making Wolf of Front Street.
Yeah.
That was a blast.
That was fun. I personally really like when we did Hallows Dawn. You, me, Dave, Colton in that house.
Yeah.
I love that video.
Yeah, dude. That was a lot of fun. I remember I loved the video where Granger pooped on somebody.
Oh my God! Yeah, he shat in my mouth. Yeah, he diarrheaed into my mouth.
What was it? Instant pudding?
Yeah, I made brownie batter.
Brownie batter.
Yeah,
okay,
and we were all. I think it was like Christmas Eve that we all.
It was around that time.
Yeah, shot that, and oh my God, that was so much fun. Such a strange nightmare of a video.
Yeah. So I mean, to be honest with you, if I've sent out to a couple like extras and like acting stuff, like most of my acting reel is the shit show.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Has you gotten any work?
I mean, I've only done it like 2 or 3 times and I haven't got anything, so I'll keep you posted.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Well, you just got to make some more sketches so I can have a bigger reel. You know?
I do.
Yeah.
You'll have to come drive all the way down here starting at 3 in the morning.
We'll make a weekend out of it. You know?
Yeah.
It'll be great.
Okay. Do you have a favorite old sketch that we've done together, or is it just kind of a mishmash?
I think Wolf of Front Street was my favorite.
Okay. Yeah.
I did like the one where we were sitting outside of Chop's Deli.
Oh, yeah.
I got to show some range on that one. You know, that was nice.
Yeah, I watched that. So that's the finale of episode 10 of Shit Show. Yeah. It was like the hour-long one. And I watched that back kind of recently.
Nice.
Because I remember not... I didn't hate it. I just remember not loving that episode so much when I made it. But when I watched it recently,
you fell in love with it again?
I was really surprised about like how mean and accurate and deep of like making fun of myself that whole thing was.
Yeah, because you wrote the whole thing and we just said it to you the whole time.
Right. And like the scene with you and I is such like this high level like cringe satire of it being like, you wrote the script, everyone knows it, and you're having your friends say this overly nice stuff to you, and you're playing this like humble / arrogant version of yourself. Oh, stop, Drew. I'm not really a genius. You're just like looking at me like
oh, dude, it was so much fun, man.
Yeah.
I do like the one we shot with Van Vliet too, where he's a homeless person. The opening to the first episode.
Yeah.
That was good.
Homeless boy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was fun. Just because we all got to hang out. I did enjoy when we were on the rooftop. And we were like,
yeah,
we were
Ghost
like
Slayer Hardbody.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that just because it had Wilmington comedy history in it, you know. What I mean?
Yes.
So that was good. Like, because you know, I don't feel like Goat Slayer and Hardbody got the flowers that they deserved sometimes, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I know I was like, I need to have a couple henchmen, and then I was like, who's it gonna be? And then I can't remember how I pieced it together, but I was like, I know they have these old characters. I should do both of them.
We had such great plans for those characters, man. It never panned out.
Yeah. It's hard to keep video stuff going.
Well, especially back then, like neither one of us had really equipment. You know, like we were filming it on my little Sony camcorder that fell apart every time I opened it. You know, it just didn't work out.
You said you got a this camera right here.
Yeah.
You got one like this.
I did.
Have you been shooting stuff with it?
I have. You know, content's king nowadays.
Yes, it is.
So I've just been filming every set. Hope that a gem falls in your lap, or you say a joke a different way where you're like, oh, it's fresh content. You know.
Yeah.
And I've also got a new YouTube show out.
Okay.
That I've been using it for, so it's been cool.
What's the new YouTube show?
Some random comedians top 5 that means absolutely nothing.
Okay, that's the whole title.
Mm-hmm.
How come you didn't hit me up for a theme song this time?
There's no music. It's like 4 minutes long.
Okay.
Or else I would have. Because I love your theme song. Thank you for all the theme songs over the years of my. I feel like all those failed projects have led to this. Because like I finally got like my lighting down. I got like a TV that I can use. Like I finally all the trial and error things of trying to make a captive, like a attention grabbing YouTube show has led to this, and I'm really happy with the product I'm putting out.
So you're making it's on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
Have you been getting some traction with it? How long have you been doing it?
We've got 4 episodes. We do it every Monday.
Okay.
And
so this is really new.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, the first episode was top 5 Bluey episodes.
Okay.
And it did really well.
Nice.
The chicken nuggets episode did well on like the social medias, because I also chop it up and put it on reels, so you can either watch that full episode or you can watch just the top 5 in like a reel version.
Yeah.
And the chicken nuggets one did really well. So people were really happy to tell me I was wrong about my chicken nugget selection.
What was your chicken nugget selection?
I can't even remember now. I think 5 was Popeyes. 4 was McDonald's. 5 was Tyson's Dino Nuggets. Or 3 was Tyson's Dino Nuggets. 2 was Chick-fil-A. And 1 was Wendy's Spicy Chicken Nuggets.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a huge chicken nugget guy, so
that's fair.
I have no dog in the race,
we
but I was
should have gotten
curious.
Zach Burke's top 5.
I've always thought about doing a cooking, or not a cooking, like almost like a diners, drive-ins, and dives, Guy Fieri style thing, but it's Zach Burke is the host, and he goes to try the chicken tenders
everywhere,
every restaurant.
Man. I am a chicken nugget or chicken tender connoisseur.
Yes. I think it would do well.
I think that'd be great. Especially if you get like prime Zach, like describing the chicken tenders.
Him coming in a 3-piece suit.
Yes.
As Zach number 2.
To try Laurinburg, North Carolina's Wendy's chicken tenders.
And he's got a couple rum and cokes in him.
Yeah. He's got one in his hand.
Yeah.
And they're like, sir, you can't bring that in here. He's just like, I don't care.
Yeah. Shut up, motherfucker.
This is my show.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I think you're sitting on a gold mine.
I think so too. Yeah. It's only a matter of time.
Yeah.
Cut this out. Don't let the people steal my idea.
You're right.
They can't steal Zach Burke from me.
Patent pending.
Okay. I really didn't plan a whole lot of notes, so I'm just free balling it. We're I feel like it's a good conversation so far.
It's great, man.
If you disagree, let me know.
No, I'm having a great time.
So on this podcast, I like to, talk about creativity a lot and creative process, and then inevitably, for some reason, I've found myself really obsessed with this whole, spiritual God question.
Okay.
Do you consider yourself a religious person or faith or anything like that?
So I grew up Southern Baptist and really left a sour taste in my mouth with organized religion.
Right.
So I consider myself a believer in God, but not organized religion.
Yes.
I feel like it's gone through too many hands.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like too many people have rewrote books and history, and there's a lot of stuff we don't know about.
Yeah, I think I
mainly don't trust the white man.
I feel like that's pretty on the nose about how I feel. I don't really know for sure. Like, I think that you're right that corruption is like rampant in organized religion.
And I mean, you see religion now.
Right. Organized religion now.
And when they had even more control when all this got going.
Yeah.
I just don't think we have the best people.
Yeah.
As in, people don't have the best people.
Right.
So I can't trust that, 2,000 years ago, the best people were being like, this is what really happened.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't believe you.
Yeah. And I think too, as like a qualifier, I think there are factions or like, specific churches of organized religion that are fine and doing their best.
Yeah.
But I think they're more rare than they are common, and I think they're hard to find, and it's hard to discern as an individual.
Well, I just have that hard line of, if you're not preaching love to everyone, then you're full of shit. Yeah,
I agree with that. I was saying, I think the common theme between all the ancient religions, when you really get down to the non-secular essence of it, is it's love. Yeah.
They call it the golden rule for a reason. You know what I mean? They probably, like, out of all the rules, I feel like they got that one right.
Yeah.
Just treat people how you want to be treated.
Yeah.
But like that really turned me against religion is when people use it to hold other people down.
Yeah. Yeah. Treating that was something that hit me kind of recently too. The golden rule: treat other people how you want to be treated. I remember I went to preschool at Montessori school in Greensboro, and I remember them beating us over the head with that rule.
Yeah.
And like, but I think just very recently, like just real light subconscious thought came up from the water, and I was like, I think that I act on that as if I believe that's like the golden rule.
Yeah.
And I it's because it's one of those things that I've been confused or not quite able to articulate. Like, we were talking about how this wild thing on stage and a lot of my art kind of makes people think that I'm a horrible monster of a person. But then, knowing me, I'm a kind person in real life. And I've always kind of like, once I started, paying attention to that and seeing that as a good thing and liking that, I've always been, and then getting real into the philosophy and, after years of proclaiming to be very atheistic and, nihilistic and believing in nothing, curious about like how is it that I'm not also like a piece of shit?
What's keeping your moral compass?
Yeah. How do I have any sense of moral value? And so I think it was like, maybe it was because the mild bit of religious household I was in, they were just some sort of unspoken, nonverbal.
And I'm not completely against like growing up in a religion.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely for once you get to a certain age, it's your decision.
Yeah.
Like I'm thankful for coming up in religion. Like I'm glad I got that base, like the knowledge of that religion, So like I can have an intelligent conversation with people about religion. Like I know enough about it, but not for me now. Right.
But that last little part was the way that the treat others the way you want to be treated, like re-entered my mind.
Yeah.
It was like, I think that's a really simple rule that if anyone just follows that simple thing, you're going to end up being automatically very moral. Probably. Yeah. Because
no one wants to be treated badly.
Right. Yeah. You're not going to, if you really like think hard about that, like, would I want that done to me? If the answer is no. And here's where I find myself so here's like a weird little fluke in me acting on that.
Okay.
With like love. Mm-hmm. Like you want to tell people you love them because it feels good if it's true.
Yeah.
To say, like, you as a friend, I love you.
Love you too, buddy.
It's like I can know that I'm safe to say that because if I were Drew, I would want to hear that from like it feels good to be told by a friend, I love you. But then when you get into the romantic territory,
don't say it too soon.
Exactly. It's like there's this weird thing between men and women and playing the game where it's like, it's true. I want to say it. And I feel like if I want her to say it to me. But if I live by that golden rule, there's like this malfunction. And I almost feel like that might be why. Yeah. Because even though I know that when I'm just articulating right now that it's a game and you don't do that, I still do it anyway.
Yeah.
And now they have like, this modern day, rhetoric around it. What I do is called love bombing. Have you heard that before?
No.
Yeah, it's when you tell someone you love them and do it too much. I don't know what the qualifier is of it, but it's like tell them too soon,
shower
too often.
them with loves.
Shower with love.
Bomb them with loves.
I don't know. I have a hard time.
What's the earliest you ever said it to someone in a relationship?
My pickup line.
Well, I love you.
I mean, I feel like almost any romantic relationship, I end up saying it fairly early.
Okay. I remember one time, I definitely felt it way earlier, but I waited 11 months to say it.
Wow.
And the girl still was like, I don't know if I'm ready to say that back to you. And I'm like, it's been 11 months.
Yeah.
Luckily, she said it pretty soon after that, but I feel like did you mean it?
Yeah.
Like,
what do you think that's about? Like, people,
no,
a fear of love is a weird thing.
Well, I think a lot of it has to do when you're in your like 20s, you have no idea what's going on. You know, like you literally change emotions day by day.
Well, I know exactly what's going on all the time, so I don't resonate with that.
Sure. Yeah. Wait till you hit 30 and then you'll look back on this and be like, I didn't know what I was doing.
We'll see. I feel like by the time I'm 30, I'll start having dementia.
But no, it's like, have you ever, like in your early 20s, you wake up absolutely enamored with someone and then you don't see him for a couple of days. And then you're like, I'm fine.
No, I'm
okay.
like, well, I mean, it depends. If I'm absolutely enamored, no, the space makes me go crazy. It makes me go like, I want to
see if I can like early in my 20s. I'm not saying that that's the way it is now, but if I could have proven myself, I can like. This sounds terrible, but live without you.
Yeah.
Then my brain's like done.
Well, I think that's actually a good indicator between someone that you actually are in love with versus someone that you're just kind of lusting for. Because I think if you're just lusting for them, give it a couple of days, you don't give a shit.
Right.
But when it's someone you really have like a deep emotional longing for, obsession with, it's like, no, 2 weeks later, I cannot get you out of my fucking head.
That's fair. Yeah.
This is mental illness.
Yeah. Then you're like, what is wrong with me? Like now I need more distance because I'm scared of how you're making me feel.
Well, and that's the thing too, is I think I don't get scared of that. I'm like, let's get in this. Yeah. Let's burn the wick. And I think what you just said is how most people feel. Yeah. And that's why there's this friction.
Right.
Between
you got to find someone else who operates psychopath. That same way. Yeah. Who's like, when you hit that crossroads of panic.
Yeah.
Or let's do this.
That's my romantic life.
Let's do this.
Is trying to read the person and be like, you might be as psychotic as I am. And then like they give me signs that maybe they are, and then when it gets down to brass tacks, it's like, oh no, you ain't here. You ain't real on this level.
You ain't real.
Yeah. You can't hang.
Yeah.
Man, such a frustrating world.
Yeah. Dude, I wouldn't want to be single in my 20s again for anything.
Yeah. Well, you got married twice.
Yep.
And second time did it better.
Way better.
I remember pretty somewhere in between your two marriages, going out to lunch. I think it was you, me, and Steve. We went to the sandwich place, South College Deli, when that was still around.
Okay, yeah.
And standing that, maybe it was you, me, and Lou and Steve, or some combination of people. Okay. Maybe it was other people. I don't fucking know. Yeah. But I remember you there, and I remember you saying kind of something similar about the 20s. Like, you just don't know who you are.
Right.
And, you know, when you get into a romantic situation in your 20s, and then you grow closer to your 30s.
That was so wild to see. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you hear about it when people talk about, we just grew apart, you know? And then you're like, whatever. Y'all just gave up. But then you see it in person, and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
That's really a thing.
Yeah.
Like, we got together at 25, but by 30, we were completely different people. And these two completely different people no longer matched like that.
Right.
And it was very weird, like very weird coming to that conclusion and very weird accepting that. And very, very weird being like...
Because wasn't it kind of like a civil bow out? Wasn't kind of just like you both just like agreed very that's civil. The case?
And that's why I don't ever want to go through a bad divorce.
Right.
Because even as civil as it was, it still sucked.
Yeah, still really sad.
Yeah, like you still failed at something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? At the core of it, that as much as you try to get through that mental roadblock, you still failed at something. And that hurt me the most. Like, not that we didn't need to be together anymore, because we didn't. It was weird realizing someone you've just spent the last 6 years with, you no longer have anything in common with. So that was real humbling too, to being like, did I change too much?
Yeah.
But then you go through that where you're like, but I like me now. So if I did change too much, then that was for the better.
Yeah.
So it was a whole lot of tearing myself down and accepting things, and kind of great, man. Like, you know, in a very weird, cathartic way, you know, like I went through that divorce and I came out a way different, completely different person, but so happy with the person I was.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Like I came out and I was like, oh, I don't care if anyone likes me now. I like me now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in return, more people liked me because I liked myself.
Yeah, I remember, because I mean, this is certainly not a marriage, but, you know, before I dated Caitlin, I'd never had a girlfriend. And just as I am now having a hard time with romance, prior to her, had a hard time with romance. But before, I had this existential fear that this was just the case for me, and then I'll never experience it. Like, I'll never experience what it feels like to have someone I love romantically love me back romantically.
The same amount. Yeah.
And, you know, with her, it even felt like at times she might love me more. And, you know, we actually had that sort of relationship where we would argue.
On who loves each other more.
Who loves who more. And
crazy kids.
So that, I mean, that felt good. That felt really good. And then, you know, and I feel like ours wasn't, I don't think, quite as civil of a breakup.
Yeah.
But it was somewhat of like a mature decision being made, of like recognizing like, hey, the way that we're doing things and like where we are in this, we can't seem to maturely work through this and fix the relationship and make it healthy.
Yeah.
So just continuing to be together, it hurts me and it hurts you just by staying together. And like, it's going to really hurt to break up right now, but like, that's what we have to do.
That's exactly what we came to.
Yeah.
You know, like, because it got to the point where she wasn't like at the house much. You know, I wasn't at the house much. you know, like we're kind of avoiding the situation.
Yeah. But like you said, coming out the other end as a different person, my whole thing with that existential fear because of that experience, that's now gone. And like, even though I'm so still, you know, desire romance and connection like that and want to try another relationship, and like I feel that I'm much better equipped to work through problems with someone more maturely. And because before, like looking back, like I feel like if I were who I was now, put in the body of me in that relationship, I could totally navigate it totally. But you know,
well, I mean, that's the whole meaning of the live and learn thing. You know what I mean? Like, but now you know how to handle it because you went through that. Yes.
But also at the same time, because that existential fear is gone, even though, like I said, I desire romance and I know I want it and I do try for it, if I never get it and I stay alone, there's so much I love about this that I learned to appreciate after experiencing the negative side of being with someone you love. And so I think my value hierarchy is real simple on it. It's like, being with someone who it's not good with is certainly worse than being by yourself. But being with someone who it is really good with is certainly better than being alone.
Yeah, I mean, I had to do that quick pivot when I got divorced. You know what I mean? Like, I was perfectly happy being single and not even thinking about dating someone for a very long time. But then a girl that I had cared about since we were like 16.
Yeah, I was about to say, Laura was like a high school sweetheart, wasn't she?
Yeah. Like, we just remained friends. Like, we tried dating in high school. It lasted like a week and a half or something. Like, it just didn't, you know, high school romance just didn't work out. But for some reason, we stayed in touch. We always enjoyed being around each other and hanging out. And she happened to go through a weird breakup about, you know, shortly after I got divorced, and we were just there for each other. And then we were just like, is this happening? And we were just like, I guess it is.
Yeah.
And it just worked out. So I had to do that pivot from being like, I'm prepared to be alone for a long time.
Yeah.
To
being like, nope, never mind.
Nope, I'm going to give it another shot.
Yeah.
And that's what I told her. I was like, I wouldn't even consider doing this with anybody else.
Yeah.
So that's how, like, going back to you, the right person you will go through that for, you know.
Like, you just know
it. Yeah, like, so it was a quick, like, I didn't stay single too long, and I'm very, like, happy about it.
Yeah.
And I was very content being single, you know. Like, right. I'm not one of those guys that has to jump from relationship to relationship. Yeah. But for her, I was like, yes.
I probably am that guy. I just can't do it.
Well, it's so funny, man. We watched What's the Paul Rudd, Jason Segel movie?
Love You Man?
Yeah. We watched that like last week.
Okay.
And it's just the relationship guy, grows up doesn't really have any friends because he puts all his relationships above all. He never made those friendships.
Right.
So that's just weird. You're like, I was that guy, just I didn't bounce from relationship to relationship.
Oh yeah, it was like I had the desire to be that guy. I just couldn't pull it off because it requires women liking you back.
What was it like in high school? Like, what did
I always describe like?
Because you seemed like a popular kid in your high school.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say is I always describe it. I was a very weird kind of popular because like I was class clown and prom king, but I never had a girlfriend.
Really?
Yeah, and looking back, so like I did that Man on the Street show for the school news, and like all these longer versions are on YouTube, like 50 episodes. So I can go back and look at me interacting with all sorts of students. And I remember showing like one of my older friends some of these videos as I was making them in high school, and he was watching moments where I'd go up to girls and talk to like a group of girls or one single girl, like that girl is into you, like reading by body language and how she's reacting, and it just that shit was just
went right over your head,
right over my head. I just had no capacity to read over it, and I think or read into it, and I think I've always been someone that just until Caitlin, I really kind of never saw myself as attractive in that way.
I got you.
Like I thought myself was funny and entertaining. I had that sort of validation that I couldn't deny in terms of people saying that to me. But I think a lot of especially young romance, it's a lot about the nonverbal.
Yeah,
and
because you don't know how to communicate.
Right. and girl, and what I think I needed in order for me to even feel like someone like me is for a girl to go up to me like, I like you. I want you. And no girl on the planet would do that. So that's why I just went like, no, I'm just not desirable. Can't have a girlfriend. And then, occasionally I chase a girl that just doesn't like me, and I would obsess, and I just wouldn't quit. And then I would start leaning into this. This is one of my things that I do that's unfortunate but also entertaining. Is once it's been very clearly established, hey, there's nothing between us. Yeah, I just want to be friends, or something like that. I continue flirting sarcastically. And I try just insane flirts, like think about my comedy, but
geared towards one person.
Yeah, right, towards one person, and it's just horrible pickup lines, and but not like gross and offensive usually, but just more like off the wall, this is absurd. And I think more with that signals to women is like, he's just fucking with me. Yeah, he does.
This is what he'd do with his friends.
Yeah, and I think that this is also potentially a true thing, is that me behaving that way convinces girls that I am explicitly telling I'm in love with you, that's a lie. That I'm just doing this for my, like, I just flirt for entertainment.
Gotcha.
And
so it's kind of like a defense barrier you put up. Like, I didn't mean that.
Yeah, I think I might be signaling that, even though that's not the case. It's like, no, I like desperately want to connect with you, and I don't know how. This is who I am.
How to do this?
Yeah.
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 There's just a lot to be said for that, for sure.
Yeah. Well, thanks for being my therapist today.
Of course.
Let's see. We've talked about comedy and love and all that. How long have we done?
It's 2:07.
Yeah, okay. I want to just get a few more minutes because I'm OCD and I don't want to. We're like right under an hour. I just want to go right over an hour.
Sounds good, man.
We could just sit in silence for a few minutes.
Let's talk.
I'm
enjoying this.
You got anything you want to talk about? Any
No.
subjects? No?
I got nothing.
Pressure's on. I told you, dude, you're going to have to carry a lot of weight today. I was doing my best.
You did. We've been doing great. We just gotta bring it home.
I know. I was feeling good, and then up until this moment, I shouldn't have checked the time.
Yeah. Well, what fun? Like, so how'd this podcast come to be?
How did it, like, what made me start it?
Yeah.
So something, I thought about doing a podcast for a long time, and there was a bunch of reasons why I wasn't going through with it, why I was like just putting it off, saying that's maybe not the best idea. One, because so many people have podcasts. And I was like, I don't think, like, I know at comedy shows, I don't make a good host. I don't think I make a good host, and I don't think I make a good opening act.
I don't make a good host. I can make a good opening act, but someone needs to go on stage and be like, hey, everyone, how you doing? Good to see you. Thanks for coming out. I don't do that well.
Right. I can fake that, and I can do a version of it, but I really don't think it's...
Same.
I shine at it by any means. And same with opening. I think just like if I'm doing my comedy, even if it's like a PG-13 version of it, it's just, I think...
have you thought about doing more of the one-man show kind of stuff? Because that time I saw you headline Dead Crow, when you did rapping and jokes and your characters and just all of you in one show. Yeah. And people lost their mind. Yeah, no, and I just feel like more like one people shows are thriving right now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that probably is my path if I want to do it.
I think you could do something and get it into like the Edinburgh Fringe Festival and like stuff. Like I think you could really go that route.
Well, that's very encouraging, and I imagine, and I don't say this sarcastically, because honestly, the beginning of this podcast where you were talking about, you know, going full-time stand-up and that being like really fulfilling to your mental health, it resonated with me so much, because even though like the switching to freelance, like as much as I was a version of that, and I still have that, and I can do that on the side supplemental.
Of course, but, that's the great thing,
right? But you know, maybe the way to, rather than leaning into the freelance to get my money up, might be smart for me to lean into trying to
do both, man. I'm trying to build both of them up right now too. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, because as much as I hate the emails and the business side of it, I'll gladly do it every day. Yeah, if that means I get to do this full time.
Yeah, I agree. But the podcast question.
Yes.
So, just knowing that I'm not a good host of stand-up, I also feel like the same thing. And I think that not being a good host of stand-up is just like knowing I'm not really a people person. And I think to be a people person is what makes a host good. Unless it's just like, you know, you're just good at faking the host role.
Right.
But like, and I think that in this situation, like I think it's part of the reason why I'm not the greatest in conversation. Because I think people persons, they ask good questions naturally because they're very curious about people. And I think I'm a very idea-oriented person. I really like abstractions and, creative ideas. And so I just don't think I thrive in this social dynamic. I enjoy it.
The small talk gets you.
I'm horrible at small talk.
Society's deemed small talk is tough. Like your small talk's fine, you know?
Right.
If you get to talk about what you want to talk about.
Yes. Yeah.
It's just what society has deemed appropriate topics for small talk can be weird. Yeah, I get that sometimes where I'm like, I don't care about the weather, man. I don't want to talk about it.
Right. Right.
But we're two strangers sitting here in a close confined area, so we got to talk about something.
Yeah. But that was a small reason. It was just like, I don't feel like I'd be a good host, and there's too many people with podcasts. But the big reason was that I've always, like, what I put out of myself publicly has been in character.
Right.
And this, I knew if I did this, I would not do this in character.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't know if I really want to publicly disperse that mystery, you know, like, or dissolve that mystery through being my real authentic self. Yeah. But over the years, as I've just kind of naturally gravitated towards doing that through like my last 5 Camboy albums, it's become progressively more
Cameron
like,
Smith.
Cameron.
Yeah.
And then putting out that book of like poetry and short stories last year, like that was also another level of like, this is like real intimate and deep into who I actually am, especially on that unrequited love element. Like, man, I did a live event at Why Not reading those poems.
Cam said could not stop ranting and raving about that night.
Really?
So, yeah, he loved that night.
Yeah, that was a fun night.
Yeah.
I love Cam. Shout out to Cam.
It's great spot.
Really great spot.
Fantastic spot. And I'm so happy he's continuing to be involved in the comedy community. Yeah, yeah. But the whole thing, that reason for me not doing it, because I didn't want to show myself, like ended up becoming the whole reason I want to do it. Gotcha.
It's like, I think that's going to serve me really well. But also the recent conversation I was having, because, you know, I'm like the last 2 podcasts I did with Timmy Booth and then Sean McAdams, I feel really bad about my performance during I felt bad about the one I did with Cam. I felt like I was a bad host. I think there's other ones that I can look back at that I feel like I just didn't. Oh, the one I did with Mr. Trubia. There's just episodes that I feel like I did a bad job as a host. So like that idea of I'm probably not a good host, and then actually experiencing like, oh yeah, I'm not.
This is what I was worried about.
I mean, Timmy was telling me he had a good time, which is that matters to me because like the reason why I feel like a bad host is because I feel like, oh no, they're having a bad time, or this is just awkward for them, or like I'm just not engaging them properly, getting in my head. But
I thought you did a fantastic job with this interview.
Well, thank you. Yeah. I thought you did a fantastic job with my fantastic job. But also at the same time, here's the weird little thing that has really been like the nugget of salvation, even in those moments, and in moments where I start talking out of my ass about, things I believe politically or about God or whatever, and it being just so dumb or convoluted or doesn't even make sense or whatever. I have to edit these back. I have to watch these things when I edit them, and I have to watch it kind of a lot, like repeatedly, and there's of course the conscious experience of seeing yourself do something that you hate. It makes you cringe, go, ugh. But just like when I was taping all my sets with stand-up, watching it back, and rather than having a rigorous writing process where I'm rearranging words, it's just an unconscious sort of processing of watching yourself back and then knowing, because you got to watch it back a number of times, exactly how it happened, body language and all. The next time I go perform, I automatically do a bunch of other things right because I experienced all that cringe and criticism of all the things I hated.
It's in your head.
Exactly. So there's that process of dealing with the negative emotion of failure, to put it simply.
Okay.
And rising up from that better.
I also don't see you repeat a lot of material.
Yes. I feel like that's both been a blessing and a curse.
Fair.
Like I like that I do that, and I think it keeps it fun and interesting for me, but it lends to this other element, because like other than the nature of my material, that's one element why bookers have a hard time taking the risk with me. Yeah. But the other thing is they literally don't know what I'm going to do because I don't know
the wild card element. Yeah.
So, I understand why I'm hard to book.
Well, it's also once you get labeled as a wild card, it's hard to convince people you're not.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really feel like the only time I don't want to say that. Like one of the most exaggerated versions of me really tanking the energy in a room was like when Ben Roy came to Dead Crow when we first opened up, the last Dead Crow. Because I got to open up for him.
I was on that weekend with you.
Last night of Nut Street.
Oh, yeah.
And I did. That was my first time ever opening. And
that was a magical night.
That was a magical night. And Timmy, of course, gave me loaded like, hey, I know you're, wild card, but I need you to keep it PG-13. I was like, I understand. I got my material that qualifies as that, and I'm going to do it. And I was nervous, and I did it, and it was fine. It was, it was a mediocre Cameron set. Yeah. I got the job done. And then, then afterwards, I guess other comics were telling Ben, he's one of the dirtiest comics we got here. And then Ben says to me, and I was like, whoa, next time around, let him do what he does, And then I was like, okay, well, if I ever get the opportunity.
Because that was the day, that was the show we switched up. Because you were opening it up, and then I was going second, and then it was Ben. And then Ben said that, and I was like, well, you go up right before Ben then.
Yeah.
I was like, if you're releasing full-blown Cameron, I'm going first.
Yeah. So then
it's like I'm getting clear of that.
Yeah. And so I did my, my anti-comedy, and it was just, it was that old white landfall crowd, and they were like, what the fuck is this? And then I closed with that grandpa rape joke or whatever. And that's the night, Troy was hosting.
Yeah.
And he got the lady that ran up to her, like, make it stop. Like just the most exaggerated version of this. And I feel like ever since then, it's been this echoing of like, people think I had these motivations to like do that on purpose. I didn't know. I didn't know that would be that bad of a reaction.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, Ben gave me his blessing to do what I do. I'm going to do my thing on a weekend show and see how it goes. And I found out like, oh no, this crowd really does not like this.
Well, it was just so funny because for the first like 5 minutes of Ben's set, he just like leaned up against the wall. Like,
yeah. And I heard like halfway through, I went to go get pizza, and I love New York pizza, but I heard halfway through that like things were kind of like dead a little bit. And then he went silent, was like, did I ever tell you about the time my grandpa... The crowd busted out laughing. Yeah. Good memories.
Yeah, dude. It was a good time. I mean, just to see what he did with it was fantastic.
Yeah. But other than that, I've never done something like that on a showcase. Open mics, sure.
Yeah.
If I go up there, I'm trying material, and they're not biting, and then I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to do some really fucking insane shit to get you squirming. And a lot of times, like, I know there was a set I did there where I did all these jokes about, like, fucking my grandma or something, just interrupt, but I kept acting like the next I'll move on. I'll set it up. It sounds like it's not going to have anything to do with it. Just sharp left turn right back into it. And it was a dead crowd for like 10 comics before me, and then that livened them up. So there's these times where like
there is something to be said for when you do light a fire underneath them.
Yeah. And so that's the hard thing. Back to the thing we were saying earlier, is like I don't know, because like Lou and I got into like a really pretty intense argument about it, you know, like a week ago. And I like, as Lou being someone I love and is my friend, and again, like I said, I empathize with bookers. I understand the wild card and it is a risk booking me, but like, I just don't do anything on purpose, and or I don't tank a show. I don't do bad on purpose.
Right.
And it like kind of broke my heart a little bit the way he was like talking to me about it, saying like, you have no skin in the game. You don't care if it doesn't go well. And it's like, that's just not true. And I like hate that you think that about me. And I don't know what to say to you to convince you that's not the case.
Right.
And it's like, I might not have like financial skin in the game, but like, I want to do well. I really care about stand up. And, you know, if it's this much of a stress to you, I don't want to ask you to do your show, because I don't want to be that burden to you, because God forbid you give me another chance and I do what I do trying to be balanced, thinking the jokes are fine and will pay off, and they don't. Yeah. And then it comes across to you like, oh,
here we go.
Yep, he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
So it might be my best option to try to do shows with people that either understand that or don't know me.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Like, yeah. Well, I mean, I think there's definitely...
Or the one-man show thing, which is probably... I need to start producing my own things.
That's what I'm thinking, man. It's because when your audience knows you...
Yeah.
It's some of the best shows I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But when you do surprise some old people...
Yeah.
On a Sunday afternoon, I've seen it go terribly wrong.
Yes. Yeah, surprising old people on a Sunday afternoon is definitely not my demographic.
Yeah. So I mean, I've seen both sides of it. You know what I mean? So like, I definitely think you just need to start stacking the cards in your favor.
Yeah,
like doing the shows at the spots you know are geared towards you. Because I've heard you've had some great shows at the Bazaar, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I just feel like the whole reason alternative venues exist, is because they're necessary.
Oh, that headlining show you're talking about, that like with Mike Van Vliet and Chris Hardy on before me. Yeah. I remember that was because we went on the radio to promote those weekend shows.
We had a great time.
And they promoted our show specifically as the Dirty Show. Yep. So it wasn't like I had some friends there that knew me, but the crowd was mostly, I think, people that just heard it was a Dirty Show, and they were there for that. And, you know, of course, like what Hardy does and what Mike does, like sets the room up.
Well, the thing is, all three of y'all were on your A game.
Right.
So it just was so flawless.
Yeah. It's definitely
like you had the costume change and like it was just great.
Yes.
You know, like from start to finish. So I'm just saying, I think you got enough experience under your belt to create that for yourself.
Yeah.
Again, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, I really appreciate that encouragement, and
I'm just saying, it's 2023. There's all types of comedy out there.
You're right. You're right.
And the club, if your audience isn't going to come see you in clubs, then go to where they're going to see you.
Yes. Might need to get out of here.
I think Austin's calling your name, buddy.
I think so.
Go to the mothership.
Joe Rogan, I'm coming for you.
I can't believe he called it the mothership.
Have you seen the inside of it?
Just pictures. Like
just pictures, yeah.
I saw the line of 200 people signing up for the first open mic.
Oh, boy.
Yeah,
it's just another comedy store open mic.
Yeah.
I got to go up at the comedy store.
Nice.
When I was in L.A., yeah.
That's awesome.
It was very disappointing. Yeah. Like, it was a 7 o'clock open mic, and I was like the second to go up. So
I would have loved that.
Well, it was just like the left side of the room, like stage left, with just comics.
Oh, no,
and then there was just
I
like,
wouldn't like that.
Right. And then, then it was just like the front row was like, I guess, some comedy store employees that like watch the show and take notes about who it is they want to talk to later.
Mm-hmm.
I did a solid 3, but
that's all they gave you?
Yeah, you get 3 minutes of those mics. Yeah, exactly.
Oof. What do storytellers do?
They don't tell stories.
A quarter of a story?
Yeah, they tell a quarter of a story, and I'll tell you part 2 out of 4 next time Tuesday. I get to go at the lottery open mic, which might not be for another 2 years from now.
Yeah. Oh, no, thank you, man. We got a lot of lottery mics in Nashville.
Yeah.
It's where you don't know if you're going up or not.
Exactly. I can't do that. Can't do no lottery. Do you go to lottery mics?
I mean, every now and then, I pop in and show my face and say hey to everyone.
You don't think Nashville would be into me doing exactly what I do?
I don't think so.
As a clean comedy
don't think so.
Place?
Yeah.
You don't think Nashville would like the set I just did?
I think there's certain venues in Nashville that would like the set you did.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
But there's also certain venues where we'd have to get you out of there.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine.
Yeah. But also, since it's so raw and in Nashville's mind, maybe that's not the city to do it. Which I just saw Sam Morril do a great Nashville shooter joke.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't see Sam's. I saw Fahim Anwar do a little bit.
I hadn't seen that.
Do you know Fahim Anwar?
I know the name.
Yeah. Do you have some favorite comics right now?
Yeah, I mean, Kyle Kinane's still my favorite.
Still your favorite?
Yeah, Nate Bargatze, Tom Segura.
Mm.
I really like what Bert Kreischer does. I'm not the biggest fan of his stand-up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not my cup of tea, but I like his overall, like, social media, YouTube presence.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's one of the best, like, comedy businessmen out there.
Yeah. Yeah, he does, like...
Cause, I mean, he's still spending, probably still spending Van Wilder money.
Yeah. I'm excited to see his movie.
I think it's going to be great.
It looks great.
And I'd much rather watch that movie than listen to him talk about it.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against him. It's just not my cup of tea. Like, loud people and me, I can't. I shut down. I'm just like, I don't want to.
Are you going to be able to handle that movie? It might be some scary parts in it or some sad parts.
If it's sad, I can be like, it's happening to Bert Kreischer. It's fine.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I really like Shane Gillis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm saying I think you need to follow that mold because Shane can't go to every audience.
Yeah, I need to get myself cast on SNL for a few hours and then let them dig up shit show. Dude, I want to try to beat
dig
Shane's
up on you
record.
would be fantastic.
Dude, I kind of like hope that happens to me. Like,
yeah,
I hope that I blow up for something kind of banal, and then immediately they start digging into my stuff, and they're like, there's just articles like 12 different articles about different things that I did.
It's only gonna make you more popular.
Oh yeah,
so you'd be great.
Oh yeah, seeing Shane's trajectory has been really encouraging.
A lot of people didn't know who he was till he got kicked off SNL.
Right.
So that helped him out tremendously.
Yeah. I also feel like I would have so much fun dealing with the press.
Yeah. Oh,
in those situations,
the press would eventually stop. Then, like, you would scare the press away.
Yes,
like that's the best part.
Yeah. Bring it on. Well, Drew, it has been a pleasure.
Well, thank you, sir.
I've had so much fun talking to you.
Yes.
Good to see you as always. And maybe I'll come see you this weekend at the club.
Yeah, please do.
Pop on by.
Yeah.
Power of Christ compels you. Bye-bye, everybody.